CM Punk, I know you've been a fan all your life. You had just kind of gotten your foot in the door in the wrestling business when this Attitude Era was rocking and rolling.
Yep.
What were moments that you brought with you?
Well, I was already selling out VFW halls across the country in places like Muncie, Indiana, Norman, Oklahoma, you know.
Yeah, big.
The bustling metropolises of the United States of America. So as the years went on, I religiously started watching less and less and less. But obviously the big moments that I remember Montreal. I remember Mick Foley being thrown off the top of the Hell in the Cell for the sheer insanity of that. And you know, I remember all the stuff that Cold Stone would do to Vince McMahon. You know, he wrecked his Corvette, made him, you know, pee his pants in in the middle of the ring. You know, drove a beer truck up, sprayed him with beer, all that fun stuff. You know, the Attitude Era had this this chaos about it, and you know, leading the charge was Steve. You know, and you didn't know what was going to happen, and that made it fun to watch.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mike? Let me guess. I'm either thinking your favorite moment that you actually were hands-on involved was either when you showed up in Fresno and you and Austin got into your extremely stiff shoving match and many $100 bills fell out of your pocket and your handlers were scrambling around to put the hundreds back in their pocket, or it might have been your association with DX, or could it have been when you knocked Shawn Michaels out at WrestleMania? You got three choices, Mike. I'm not Alex Trebek. I don't have water all day here.
Okay, I'm just gonna go with
Mike, go with whatever you want. Take all the time you need, brother.
Shawn Michaels knockout. That was a good one.
That was a great look.
That was a good
You
one.
remember the right hand?
Yeah, it was a good one.
Good one.
It was a good one.
We replayed that a lot.
It was a good one.
That was good.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one.
No, the camera. There was no editing on that one. That was nice and snug, and that's a storyline that you can obviously utilize in this game with Mike if you pre-order it. Shameless plug. CM Punk, your setting on the stage was someone who's certainly no stranger to you, and Steve, or Cold Stone, whatever you like to call Mr. Austin. Obviously, he revolutionized this era. How did he and what he did on Monday nights influence what you did early and what you are doing now?
Well, I'm not a big fan of calling the Attitude Era. And what I mean when I say that is, Steve sort of touched on it already. The best things in the history of pro wrestling have always been about attitude. And the guys who have made it, bust through a glass ceiling or made it to the top, whatever you want to call it, they were the ones who had the most attitude. They walk in a room, they command an audience. They, for whatever reason, were angry, were pissed off, knew what was good, and whether they were stepping on toes and pissing people off, the end of the day, the product was amazing, and they knew that what they were going to do was good for business. So that being said, he's the poster boy for that. Somebody who had been overlooked and not used to his potential, maybe kind of brushed aside for somebody else. This isn't our guy. This guy over here who he used to play football. We're gonna use him. Sorry, Steve. You have to sit down. It's not your turn. Eventually, just saying, you know what, the hell with it. I'm gonna do it, and just doing it. And to me, that's obviously what encompasses the Attitude Era. But that's the same thing I did. That's the same thing anybody who makes it to the top did. You have your whole career and your whole life of people telling you no, and you either start to believe it or you listen to them, or you get pissed off enough that you shove it up their ass and you prove them wrong. And if I took anything from Steve Austin, it was that. I obviously don't lack confidence, but at the end of the day, I also know that what I'm going to do out there, whether it's going to make somebody in the back mad or if it's going to step on somebody's toes, I know at the end of the day, it's the best thing for the business. And that's what I learned just from watching him and his attitude and the way he carried himself and produced and drew money and put asses in the seats and everything.
Can you pass that to Steve, please, or one of those
Sure.
mics? Please, thank you. And of course, so there's to the people in the audience, CM Punk figuratively meant shoving something up someone's rectum, not literally.
If you get me mad enough.
Yeah, we're not doing any prison movies
What?
here.
Oh. You sure?
Yes.
I think Miz just did a prison movie.
And he also did a film.
A film.
Steve, based on what CM Punk said, how much, or was percentage-wise, how many times, or the percentage that you go into business for yourself? When we saw you on TV, those of us that knew you knew what we were seeing. And I've always said the best wrestlers are the ones that are extensions of their own personality. You weren't really much different in real life, in my opinion, than you were on television. So how much did you just usually go into business for yourself and call the proverbial ad lib once you got in the ring and you felt or heard? Because I know a lot of your instincts came from your hearing, even though you're half deaf.
Man, yeah, to me, you just go out there and you turn the volume up. Most of the time, I like to operate at about a 1 or 2. When you go out there and you got 20,000 people to entertain, you turn it up. And if you go into a competitive environment, going back to my football days, it's a killer instinct. You want to survive. You want to start. You want to dominate everything. Now, you got to get your opportunity. And when you don't get an opportunity and you have to make an opportunity, you got to go for it. So anytime I went out there, I always went out there to do business. But I knew business. I've been held back and frustrated for 7.5 years. I finally got fired. ECW picked me up. Paul Heyman kind of coached me up a little bit. I got a chance to see and feel and turn into a laser focus what I felt and was able to verbalize that. When I got the shot to come to WWE, they called me the ringmaster. It's a suck-ass gimmick. They put me with Ted DiBiase, who I love. He's one of my favorite workers of all time and a great promo, and he was my mouthpiece. I knew that wasn't going to last long. Couldn't sell out any arenas with it. You couldn't put it on a T-shirt. You couldn't market it. So I started thinking of stuff, and we came up with the Stone Cold idea. I pitched that thing to the office, and unceremoniously they started calling me Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I don't think anybody in the office got it. No one in the back got it. But I knew what I was doing, and I just had to start getting noticed. I had to have a few meetings with Vince in the parking lot. Back in the day, we were trying to save a lot of money back in, and we'd go live one week. We shoot the next show that night, and we take it to post and put it on the next week. So we're live every other week. I noticed a lot of my lines are being taken out of that post show. So I saw Vince in the parking lot one day, and I said, "Hey, Vince, I noticed you're editing a lot of my lines." I said, "Why is that?" He goes, "Well, Steve, quite frankly, you're starting to pop the people in the truck. You guys know if you're popping the people in the truck, you can pop anybody." So I said, "Well, I'd appreciate it if you stop editing all my lines." So it was just a thing of trying to survive, trying to get a foot in, and then once I got a little bit of traction, blowing every son of a bitch off the road on the way to the top, and that was my mission. It wasn't necessarily going into business for myself, but it was being about me in a company setting and not being satisfied with jerking the curtain, being the match after, the popcorn match after intermission. I've been there, I did it. I didn't want to do it my whole career, and I just had my sights set on a higher goal. So I just went out there, turned up the volume, and in this business, and I say this to the cats behind me, and even to see him over there on the edge, and he's not afraid to go out on a limb, but to the cats behind me, never be afraid to go out on a limb. I wasn't. They can always reel you in, but they can't push you out there any further. That's what I did.
That's good. One of the, and this is for Seamus, one of the new features in this game is really involving spectacular moments and pivotal moments in WWE that this game is so vividly recreated. Maybe somebody would call them good God Almighty moments or something to that effect. But throwing somebody through a barricade, the ring exploding, the physicality that we saw on the outside where humans would attack inanimate objects, falling from ladders. I still believe that people don't fall from ladders and learn how to fall from ladders, but they do, and it hurts. you remember as a kid watching or even in your career, something you saw that we will see in this video game that would fit into that category of spectacular moment?
Well, as a kid, I fell off a lot of ladders, actually, JR. It's banned from quite a while.
Did you learn how to fall?
Uh,
Or do you still bust your ass?
I just still bust my ass.
There you go.
Yeah. No, I think the spectacular moments thing is very important for the game. It's a great addition. You know, like Punk said earlier on, like everybody remembers the time when Foley took that fall off the cage, off the Hell in a Cell through the table. Like that was one of the most talking points, the biggest talking points of the year, and it'll go down in WWE history forever. And there's been a lot of them, you know, especially what we saw with Big Show and Mark Henry breaking the ring, destroying the pay-per-view for everybody else after that. And of course, I got myself was put through a wall by Mark Henry, which, you know, it is what it is. Hurts like hell, but you know, it's one of those moments that just stand out in pay-per-views and in WWE. So I think with the new addition to this game, with those moments, I think it's great. Adds to the game, adds to the feel, adds to the realism, and it just keeps up to date with television as well, up to TV and pay-per-views, and it's more and more that feel of playing this game, playing WWE 13. It's just like watching the real thing and just being more involved. I think it's great.
Next question, good answer too, and a very good points. Dolph, you'll throw that down to Dolph or pass it, wherever you choose. One of the neat things about this video game is the audio. You know, the crowd noise, the commentary. Some of the commentary is going to be really good. Some of it may be challenging to listen to.
Vintage.
But Dolph, Steve was talking earlier about the crowd and calling an audible. Sometimes you hear things you say, or you're in a match and you do a chain of moves, and the crowd reacts as if you hadn't expected that reaction. They just told you they like what you're doing. So as a performer in the ring, how does the ambiance, like tomorrow we're sold out at SummerSlam. That should be a hot crowd, early start. Hope everybody will be sober. You know, a little buzz maybe, but you know. But how does that affect your work, the crowd noise, audience?
You know, that's the great thing about the WWE, especially as a fan, when people used to bring their signs, and now they're involved. They're there with us. They sometimes control the tempo of a match, control what's going on, and sometimes you have instincts that don't work, and you hear something happen in the crowd, and that's what's great about being a WWE superstar and actually playing the game and hearing the crowd. You actually feel what's going on, and when they feel for you, and someone like me who's a career bad guy and just does some pretty awesome stuff, and people start cheering you because they appreciate your hard work, and you hear that, and that changes your mindset, and that's the great thing about having a live Monday Night Raw, or being at a live event, or in this game where you can actually judge and think and use your instincts on what's coming next, because this crowd, you know what they want to see, and you want to give it to them, or in my case, take it away from them.
You know, this is what we're saying in a roundabout way, is this is a very smart video game. This is a very smart video game, and if you are a real devout fan, if you're a gamer in general, you're going to love that, but if you are an aficionado of the genre, then you're going to be challenged, and you're going to really enjoy the things that you're going to be able to do. AJ is the general manager on the flagship program, Monday Night Raw, and we know that in this video game you can create superstars. You can create traits and attire, movesets, and things like that. AJ announced, we said earlier, as a downloadable character. She said DLC, and I had to look that up. Downloadable character in the video game, which is great for her, and congratulations to her. But a lot of folks don't know, AJ, you've been a fan all your life and a video game player for a good part of it. Now you got a chance to enhance your own downloadable character. Have you given any thought to what you might want to add to your repertoire or to your attire, your moveset?
Besides exaggerated body measurements, no. You know, that's like that's the really fun part. I remember, I think I learned a lot of the names of moves and just a lot about wrestling itself from creating my character when I was like 12, and just thinking of like, oh, this is what I would like to do, and so did you just say that was 2 years ago? Hey, remember I'm your boss, Punk.
That's a write-up.
But I don't know. It's so much more in depth the past couple of games, and I've played so many of them, SmackDown vs. Raw, and the new system. It's just been so intricate and so real, and I actually did the THQ challenge, and I said I was going to name drop that as many times as possible, and I won that at WrestleMania this year. So yeah, after only playing 3 matches. But so it's so much more realistic, and it's kind of the game that you always want it to be. People they get hurt, and it shows, and they have different energy levels, and it's so real. And if you ever wanted to do this, it's like the closest you can get besides getting hurt in a ring. So I'm gonna just hopefully they make me look cool, and maybe I could just make her a little bit more generous.
I don't know if there's any enhancements involved, but maybe that's part of a new downloadable feature.
Yeah, it is.
I think maybe they can give Lawler bigger breasts sitting at the announce table and Cole bigger lips.